Right, everyone, and welcome back to hashtag Endure and Transform, Guidant Global campaign to help us through some of the things that are happening to workforce and contingent workforces in COVID, post-COVID. Today I'm talking to a very good partner of Guidant Global, Peter Hayter, who works for Coupa. Coupa is a technology partner that we have, and I'll let him introduce himself, but we've been partnering with them on their contingent workforce module technology for about 2-3 years now, and we're getting some big traction in Australia. Peter, do you want to give us an introduction and we can get started?
Good to catch up again, and thanks for the time. So Coupa Software is essentially, we're seen and recognized globally as the global leader of business spend management, so procurement type technology, but it's all encompassing, so it also includes risk and other areas of that, the way that businesses spend money. We've been around since 2005, and I think what really changes or is different from a Coupa point of view is that we really focus on driving outcomes and partnering with organizations. So from a tech space, it's really nice to work for an organization that doesn't want to just flog off software, but really is focusing on customer outcomes and ensuring value. So we really work very closely with our customer base, and as you know, the companies that we're working with together, there's just a really strong focus on ensuring that we're driving and making sure that we understand the customer's end outcome and partnering with them to ensure that they get that success.
That's absolutely. And can you just give us the amount of spend that goes through your software, your spend platform? It's an amazing number.
Yeah, so it's just over $1.5 trillion a year. So it's a fair chunk of cash.
Yeah. I think that should be your opener.
You always get asked about what size organization or what size business or who should buy or use Coupa, but it's really flexible from a size point of view. We obviously got like Westpac who's just come on board. We have companies like Amazon globally, massive amount of users and spend going through all the way through to like North Queensland airports here in Queensland, who are only very small, but through COVID found it very pinnacle and pivotal to actually have Coupa and how they managed their response to COVID.
And then you were telling me just before this a little bit about the BSI. Do you want to just give us a bit of give an overview? Because I think it's a pretty interesting piece of information.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So one of the things that we focus on is aggregating the information and the spend, and we have it's called the Coupa Business Spend Index. And so every quarter we release back out to the market around how and the buying patterns of what organizations are doing. Obviously we have a huge amount of spend going through the platform, so we aggregate and anomalize that and share it back out to the market and say, well, this is this is what's going on out there. And through COVID, we've found that office supplies are down 42%. So as you can imagine, there's less people going to the offices and more remote. So shipping and freight's up by 128%. So everyone's doing things again remotely and just ordering things. And one of the really interesting ones was the increase was around contingent workforce, which obviously impacts both of us in our space. So that the market's definitely looking for how to scale up in a temporary manner and get the expertise and not have the ongoing effect of having to hire and recruit permanent employees.
Now I'm going to push you towards that contingent workforce side because, of course, that's something that's near and dear to me and to Guidant Global because it's our bread and butter. And just pre, I guess, COVID and when the world was normal compared to where it is today, have you seen a shift? I mean, you mentioned a little bit about the spend under management, but have you seen a shift in what customers are asking for? And I want to relate it to, if we can relate it to contingent workforce management, but in other areas as well.
Yeah, and I think there's been a huge shift. So previously, organizations were spending money as normal, and it was more around that source to pay. So the sourcing elements, contract management, and then the procure to pay part. So how they're just buying items. Obviously, COVID's shifted a a lot and changed their focus in a lot of areas. So companies aren't spending as much on as many things in as many areas. So the procure-to-pay space seems to be more on hold and less focus on it. And really it's around 3 key areas. So the first one's around, sourcing and doing strategic sourcing and managing, how and where you're getting your items from. That then inherently affects your supply chain risk. So third-party risk is a huge area as well. And there was a whole bunch of things that came out of the rush and the panic in the early stages of COVID around organizations, third parties, and third-party suppliers, and then the risk associated with it. And the really big one is around contingent workforce and how companies really focused on how they're getting the jobs done, where they're getting the skills from. There's a lot of redundancies, a lot of organizations putting people off, but still needing to do projects and still needing to do very strategic initiatives to drive business outcomes. So there's a really big focus on that contingent workforce space, which, as you know, we're working on quite a few, different opportunities to work with organizations at the moment to help them in this space. Yeah, and it's a really big shift, and it's happened very quickly. So they're looking for your knowledge and guidance, extensive knowledge and background to be able to support them through that. Obviously, one of the things is Coupa provides the platform and the technology and supports the initiatives, but you've got that depth of change management support, everything that you do, and do so well, which I think is so strong in the market.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I think we've had some fun in the last little while. I think we've been able to help some customers, so it's been a good partnership.
Yeah.
Now, and so as we come out of this potentially, and let's hope, I know I'm in Victoria, you're in Queensland, we're in different stages and the world's in different stages, but let's talk about maybe, in the latter half of next year, I mean, where do you see that contingent workforce module for you? Sort of, where do you see it tracking?
Yeah, well, I think only up. I think, from a Coupa point of view, it's interesting. We are the global leader, seen in that business spend management space more broadly around the world. We are the go-to platform over in America and Europe. In Australia here, we're still an emerging market. So I think for the contingent workforce space here, I think we'll just get a lot more traction. We'll have a lot more customers. And I think organizations will see the difference of how it is to work and operate with Guidant and Coupa together, and the benefits they're getting, and the fact that we are both really customer centric to be focusing on their outcomes. Yeah. So I think in 12, 18 months time, I think we'll just be having a lot more use cases, and companies will innately be doing more in this space, just because, I don't think anyone can see us coming out of this too much differently in a year's time, unfortunately, or even more. So, I think it'll be more status quo, and if anything, there'll be more redundancies and more people in the job market looking for shorter term types of employment opportunities. And I think this is where we're able to help and support organizations with that. So I think, it's an interesting time.
Yeah, yes, it is an interesting time. So I think we're just kind of wrapping up now. We're almost getting close to our 10-minute mark. I just want to, I think the partnerships that we've created so far have been fantastic. I think the thing that I really enjoy about working with Coupa is the flexibility it has with us and with our customers. It's a very customer-centric approach that we both take, but certainly that Coupa brings to the table, and also the ability, I think, for customers to roadmap very, very well their overall spend. You can, it's not like you have to actually now take your contingent workforce spend and look at it in isolation. You can now look at it in a holistic environment. And I think that's something that is certainly unique, and that you bring to the table, which is, for the Australian market anyways, going to be quite a strong offering. So looking forward to doing a lot more with you in the next several years.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. I appreciate having the chat, and look forward to continue working with you.